How many pages can I read today? Which one should I read? This man is so down bad for her. Hello book besties and welcome to a new reading vlog. This week I've decided to relinquish all control over my reading and let somebody else control it for me. So I am going to be letting my boyfriend control what books I read and how many pages I read every single day. Get cozy, grab yourself a cup of tea and let's get into it. Today we are starting a new reading vlog, but this one's going to be a little bit different because I have absolutely no control over what I'm going to be reading this week. Instead, somebody else is going to choose what books I read and how many pages I read every day. For those of you who do not know, this is Ollie, he is my boyfriend, and he is going to control my reading this week. I think the first thing that we need to do is pick out what book I'm going to start reading. If you look here, this is my physical TBR for this month. So you need to pick between these.
This is such a small TBR. What about the actual TBR card?
This is already going wrong. He's not happy to choose from my monthly TBR.
It's just such a small scope for me to work from, you know?
From my actual
You're limiting my creative genius. There's got to be Assistant to the Villain.
Okay.
It's got to be.
Okay, so Assistant to the Villain is what we're going to be starting today. And Ollie, how many pages would you like me to read of this book today?
Do I get to ask any questions about how busy you are, or should it just be complete random?
You just get to choose.
I'll say 101.
Okay. Okay, it is 10 to 9 and I haven't managed to do that much reading so far today. I am up to page 43, so I have just under 60 pages left to read, but that's okay because that should be like an hour of reading. Firstly, a little overview to the setting of this book. We are following Evie and she basically runs into the villain. He's like a well-known villain in this place. She runs into him right at the start of the book. They kind of help each other out and then he basically ends up offering her a job as his assistant and she accepts this job because she needs the money to look after her family because her dad is ill and she has a younger sister who she needs to support as well. So that's like the setting of this book, and then we kind of fast forward 5 months to where she is now working for the villain and they obviously know each other quite well. I say quite well. I'm not really sure how well they know each other. They act very like familiar with each other, but at the same time, she doesn't really know much about him. She does find him attractive, but nothing has ever happened between them and he's not really shown any interest in her that way. He's quite grumpy. Well, he's supposed to be quite grumpy, but whenever we see their interactions, he's not actually that grumpy. I'm liking it so far. I like their interactions. I have no idea what the actual plot of the book is going to be. Interestingly, the chapters, like say Evie at the top, so I'm assuming that this is going to be multi-POV, like maybe we're going to get his POV as well, but we just haven't so far. Oh, actually, yeah, in fact, in literally 2 chapters time, we have the first chapter from his point of view, so that'd be interesting to get inside his head a little bit. I actually don't know what his name is. Are we going to find out what his name is? I assume, but so far he's literally just called the villain. So yeah, obviously you're really not far into it at all yet to say, but initial thoughts are that it's good vibes and I'm enjoying it. Just started the first chapter from the villain's POV and straight away found out his name. I'm sorry, but this man is so down bad for her. Like, he has it so bad and I love it. I'm loving this. 70 pages yesterday.
How many did you read?
About 10. The new season of Sweet Magnolias came out and I binged the whole series all yesterday evening, didn't I? I actually stayed up late watching it, and I just didn't do my reading. So I have to admit that, have to be honest with you, have to be honest with the vlog. I failed yesterday. So I need to read the rest of those pages. How many pages would you like me to read today?
Yeah, you've already got 60. I mean, I would honestly struggle to read 60 pages in a day, as it is. Let me see this book. Let me see how big or small the it's not nothing, is it? But it's not a lot on there, is there really? Okay, I'll just say 33.
33?
Obviously plus the 60, that's 93.
I really wanted to finish this book. If I want to read more, I'll have to come and ask for your permission.
You'll have to come ask for my permission.
I'm going to go and edit my video now to get that done out of the way. So that's ready for tomorrow. And then I'm going to be able to just like, other than of course walk the dogs and stuff, like I'm going to be able to then just sit and read all day. Okay, it's 5 to 3 and I've just finished editing and getting that video uploaded. So now I'm finally going to sit down and read. I don't know why I gave it the big talk to Ollie as if the pages he'd given me weren't going to be enough, because I'm only just sitting down to read now. Still have to eat, still have to walk the dogs, but for now it's time to read. How many pages can I read today?
200.
Okay, 200 pages today. I'm gonna get ready and we will chat. Right, hello. I am just getting ready for the day. Oh no, my moisturiser is really low. I thought I would just speak to you about the book and everything. So Ollie obviously gave us 200 pages to read today, which I'm happy with because today's Sunday and I don't have loads to do today. Actually, that's actually not true. I actually do have quite a lot going on today. So Sunday we always do our food shop, so we'll be going to the supermarket to do our food shop. I also have book club. It's like a mini book club. We were reading Onyx Storm for book club this last month, but neither Flo or Charlotte have actually finished it. So we're still gonna just meet up because otherwise like it's quite a long time until we can do it. I don't know what's going on with my forehead. I don't remember hitting my head. Oh, I did. I hit my head on the door. Yes, we're just gonna have like a mini little book club, chat a little bit about the book in terms of like where they are both up to. And then we will also hopefully do a little bit of reading there because I'm gonna take my book to read. I have already read a little bit today. I started on page 204, that was where I had to get to yesterday. And I'm on I'm on page 234, so I've read 30 pages this morning. It's really weird reading this book, right? Because when I'm reading it, like I am really enjoying it. And when I'm thinking about it, I'm really enjoying it. But at the same time, sometimes I'm reading it and it's like, it's just not going into my brain. And I have to literally go back and read the whole chapter because I'm like, I just read a chapter, but nothing went into my head. And I don't know if that's the book problem or if that's a me problem. Like, I don't know if I just have like too much other stuff going on in my head at the moment, because I'm just finding that when I'm trying to read it, my thoughts are actually just elsewhere, you know? And that probably is more to do with me than the book. And it's annoying because like I actually am enjoying the book. I am really liking it, but yeah, it's just, I'm finding it hard to stay focused on it. I'm just gonna put a little bit of bronzer contour on my cheeks and maybe a bit of blush, do my eyebrows and call it a day. Sit. Go on, good boy. Go on. Good boy, yeah, come on. Good boy. I actually loved this. I don't know why I was struggling so much through the first half of this book. I don't think it was the book. I think it was just me and my mind was elsewhere and I was struggling to get into it. But today, well, I have read nearly half of this book today, I guess. I literally have just loved every moment, and like looking back on it, I did like the first half. As I said, I was just really struggling to focus on it. I think this was really good. Like, I loved the romance in this. You have a proper kind of slow burn romance. I will say it's definitely not like enemies to lovers like you might think from reading this. Like it's not enemies to lovers at all. And it's a weird vibe because it is like a fantasy. It's not really a rom-com, but like some parts of it are quite light-hearted compared to a normal fantasy. I guess it kind of feels like a cozy fantasy. I don't know what it's really counted as, but I didn't know what to expect going into this, and honestly it exceeded my expectations. I kind of thought this wasn't really going to be for me, but it was great. I loved it. I loved our characters. I think the plot was fun and engaging. It was a good length. I'm either going to give it 4 stars or honestly maybe even 4.5 stars. I'm going to sit on it and see like what I think in a few days time, and I'll give you my final rating at the end of this video. But yeah, I really enjoyed this, had a great time. So this was 340 pages and I started today on page 204. So I've read 136 pages today and I have to read 200, I think. So I've got about 64 pages left to read today, so I'm obviously going to have to start a new book. So I think what I'm going to do is maybe just pick out a couple of options and get Ollie to choose between those, because I don't quite want to give him free rein over my whole TBR, because there are some books that like would not be convenient for me to read right now, and books also where I have plans to read them in other reading vlogs. So I'm going to pick out a couple of options and get him to choose one, and then I will start that later this evening, I guess. So I finished that book. I'm going to go for a romance. So we have The Dixon Rule by Elle Kennedy. This is like ice hockey romance. We have This Summer Will Be Different by Carly Fortune. I think this is a second chance. And then Cleopatra and Frankenstein. This is more of a fiction than a romance, but it's like following a married couple in New York.
Alright, well, that's cool.
Which one should I read?
Alright, let's go for that one then.
This one?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Probably the hardest to read, but I need to read it. It's on my TBR. Albie is literally being so annoying today, just won't stop barking, as you can hear. And yeah, Ollie's in the office today, so it's just me at home. I thought it was time for an update. So I really need to take them out. I really need to take them out for their morning toileting, but I just wanted to do this first. So you're just gonna have to excuse the barking in the background. He's obviously a little bit wound up. So Cleopatra and Frankenstein I obviously started yesterday. I think I was supposed to read like 63 or 64 pages last night. I got to page 57 and I'm just like calling that a day there. Like, I'm not calling it a fail because I did basically read 200 pages yesterday. I just fell short by a few pages, but I wanted to stop at the end of a chapter because the chapters in this one are quite long. So thoughts on this so far. So this is set in New York. At the start of the book, we meet Cleo and Frank. They meet on New Year's Eve and they have a connection. And then we kind of fast forward in the next chapter, like 6 months later, and they're now getting married. And we kind of find out that, yes, they're together and in love, but one of the reasons that they're getting married is because she needs a green card to stay in the US. She's not American. It's interesting because their relationship kind of seems fine from what we've seen so far, but there's been very subtle, or not even necessarily subtle, there's been things thrown in very casually that obviously means the relationship isn't perfect, but they've not really been commented on. Like, it's just been kind of thrown in as a random line and you're like, oh, okay. Look, this is obviously not my kind of book like that I would normally read, but so far I'm enjoying it enough. Sometimes what I think is interesting about literary fiction books, which I think is what I would class this as, is that there's not really a plot. Does that make sense? Like, I have no idea what is actually going to happen in this book. I don't know what the plot of the book is, other than that we are just following these people. So maybe that is all that we're going to be doing. We're just going to be following these complicated characters who do some questionable things, but maybe they're still good people. I don't know. But yeah, that's where we are, and it's okay so far. It's not anything amazing, but it's okay. Today, I actually had a look, and this book is included in Spotify as an audiobook, which is good because today I might struggle a little bit to get my reading in. Obviously it's a working day, but also on days like today when Ollie is in the office and I'm home on my own, it just makes everything a little bit busier because obviously everything to do with the dogs I have to do myself rather than sharing jobs with Ollie. So for example, I need to go and take the dogs on a quick walk now before I start work. Even though it's raining, but I just need to make sure that they go to the toilet and then feed them, and then at lunch I'll have to take them out as well. So if I can listen to some of my audiobook, that'll be good. Do I know how many pages I need to read today? No, I don't. So let's maybe message Ollie. He might not reply straight away, so I think what I'm going to do is I will just let you know when he does reply, and I'm going to go and take the dogs out now in the rain near me, and maybe I will listen to a little bit of the audiobook because I mean he's going to give me some pages, so I may as well listen to a little bit now. Oh, I have hardly any battery on this camera. Okay, it's Tuesday. I did not speak to you again yesterday. I just had a really busy work day, and then I needed to get my pages read. I needed to do some editing, and yeah, I just didn't do any filming. But I did do some reading. I think I maybe fell short by a few pages. I can't remember what page I was supposed to get to. I would look at my phone, but I don't know where it is. But I think maybe I'm short by like 10 pages. I got to page 158 of this, which I'm like nearly halfway through, I think. I think this book is maybe like 360 pages. The last chapter that I read of this book was really weird because it was suddenly from a new POV of someone who we didn't know, and it did become clear through the chapter why we were getting this POV and kind of like where it's leading. But at first I was so confused because also that chapter was written in first person, whereas the rest of the book has all been written in third person. That was a little bit weird. I'm assuming it's obviously intentional and it's going to make more sense, but yeah. I really don't know how I feel about this book because I kind of like it, but also I'm kind of bored. Obviously this is a literary fiction book, so it's different to normal books that I read in like romance, fantasy, thriller. In a sense, it doesn't have that strong plot structure. Like, it's not laid out like a normal book. The reveals and when things happen is very subtle. Like, it's very subtly done. It's not supposed to be like a jaw-dropping moment. It's kind of just like put in there, and that's like a very different type of book to what I would normally read. I don't know if I'm making any sense, but it's like it's not as dramatic as a normal book would be, but at the same time I'm kind of liking it. Today is the last day of this challenge. I think it will have been a week today. I think I started it on Wednesday, and I'm pretty sure Ollie's not going to ask me to read 200 pages today because that's kind of what I would need to do to finish this book. So I'm probably not going to finish it today, but I will finish it and wrap it up for you in this video so that it's complete, and also that motivates me to keep reading it and get it finished. But yeah, anyway, I'm gonna go and charge up this camera this afternoon, and then I will pick it up when I'm ready to ask Ollie how many pages I should read. How many pages should I read today?
50.
Okay, I have finished Cleopatra and Frankenstein. Also, I just want to say the end of this vlog was a bit chaotic. I'm not sure what was going on with me, but my mind was just like frazzled. I thought that I was doing a whole week of reading. I actually only did 6 days. Whatever. It is what it is. But I did finish Cleopatra and Frankenstein. I kind of liked this, I think. Like, it's a really weird one. I enjoyed it when I was reading it. I also listened to some of the audiobook, and honestly it was like one of the best audiobook experiences I've ever had. And I don't know why, because like it's not multiple narrator or there's nothing special about the audiobook. I just found the audiobook really captivating, like, if that makes sense. Like, I'm not a huge audiobook person. I'm really not. One of the main reasons for that is I really struggle to focus on audiobooks. Unless I'm literally sitting and just listening, and even then my mind wanders, goes to other places. But when I was listening to this one on walks and stuff, I was just like sucked in. I was listening to every word. I was like, you know, it was going into my brain. And yeah, I don't know, I really enjoyed the audiobook and the book in general, like when I was actually reading this book as well with my eyeballs. But I can't put my finger on anything that I liked about it, if that makes sense. Like, it's a really weird one. I just really enjoyed my time with it, but I have no idea why. If I think about it, it was quite boring. Nothing really happened, but I just really enjoyed it. I think what I will say is, I think that the author did a really good job of making these people real. Like, the characters felt like real people to me. And I think that maybe that is why I enjoyed it so much. It felt like I was reading about real people. I didn't necessarily like any of the characters. I didn't necessarily like where the plot went, but I liked the book as a whole. So it's a really hard one for me to rate, but I think I'm going with 3.5 stars. I think. I'm probably going to give it 3 stars on Goodreads, 3.5 stars on Fable, like 3.5 stars in my own tracking. But yeah, very weird one. The week is over, and to be honest, I'm glad to be back to controlling my own reading. I didn't necessarily enjoy having someone else telling me what to read and how many pages to read, even though he was actually really kind in the number of pages that he asked me to read. Like, I did not read that many pages over the whole week, and if I'd just been reading myself, I'd have probably forced myself to read more. But regardless, I don't like having a target for the day that like I have to reach. I don't really enjoy that. And also, I wasn't able to choose my own books. But to be honest, I'm actually really happy with the books he chose, because Assistant to the Villain, I absolutely loved it. And Cleopatra and Frankenstein, this has been on my TBR for such a long time, and I've just been intimidated by it. And I'm so glad that I finally read it, because 1, I realised there was no reason to be intimidated by this book, and 2, it's off my TBR now, which is amazing because it's literally been on my TBR for probably 2+ years, maybe. I hope that you enjoyed this reading vlog. Please don't forget to leave a comment, like and subscribe if you haven't already. I would love to see you in my next video. Bye!